Get equipped with EmiNES. Alright, we're talking Mega Man 2 today. The sequel to Mega Man 1. Very, very surprising fact that it's the sequel to Mega Man 1 there. Of course, I have my signed copy here by the art guy who did the art for the thing. I'm pretty sure he did this terrible art for this game as well. Sorry, I'm still like thinking we're reviewing Mega Man 1 for some reason. No, we're talking about Mega Man 2, the vastly superior sequel to Mega Man 1. And can we just start off right out the bat? Listen to this. This is some of the greatest music on the NES. I actually had to think about it, and I'm like, this might be the best NES soundtrack that there is. I mean, I cannot think of one that's consistently, every track is as good. You know, I mean, you think about stuff like Zelda, and it's like, yeah, lots of tracks are great, but I mean, there's only like a couple of tracks. Like, every time you're at a new location in this game, there's like pretty much a new track almost every time, except for like, you know, they reuse a couple tracks like the Wily Stage 1 a couple of times, but well justified. I mean, that's an absolute banger. I mean, that is one of the most, like, iconic NES songs is what I was trying to say, of all time, right? The Wily Stage Part 2. It's like right up there with friggin' Super Mario Brothers and shit. Like, everyone knows that shit, you know? Like, yeah, ones like this get a little repetitive, but this is just for like a menu for like a couple of seconds, you know? You're gonna skip past it. Like, the soundtrack is an absolute banger. That is like definitively, I think, the game's like best feature. And its robot masters are actually pretty iconic. I feel like, you know, you got like Heat Man. He looks like a torch, or like a lighter is what I was trying to say, not like a torch. But I think he throws little torches, right? Isn't that kind of what or just like fireballs? They do the tall fire thing. I mean, that's a NES staple, you know, fucking Castlevania 3 and shit, like at the end there, like that fucking shit. They do that. So, yeah, shit like this. Every song is friggin' iconic. Like Woodman, Metal Man, oh my god, they're all so good. Like Bubble Man, like every single one of them. Flashman, all of them are good. Yeah, like all the powers too. I mean, they're okay. I mean, I feel like Metal Man's Metal Blades like kind of overshadow the rest, but because that's what you always use, because it's like the most overpowered weapon, and I mean, we have that, so the rest of them are just like what you'd expect. They kind of just, you know, defeat other robot masters. Like, you know, you use Bubble Man to fight Fire Man or Heat Man, and you use like some of them are weird too. Like, I kind of forgot that I was supposed to do Flash Man first this time around. I always do Flash Man first, and I didn't even think about it. I just went straight for Quick Man because I wanted to get one of the most bullshit segments out of the way, like right away. Kind of like the Guts Man reaction, even though you're supposed to do Bomb Man first or whatever. So yeah, but I guess let's jump into that. I mean, I kind of talked a little bit about the Robot Masters. We'll get back to that, I suppose. But there are some points of the game where the difficulty is well beyond any other part of the game. And so, like, for instance, like, it just kind of gets a little bit bullshit. Like, there's like 3 ones I can think of right off the top of my head. Like, Quick Man stage with the beams that like go across the thing, and you have to do like several rooms of this. It's just really annoying. Heat Man stage where you're jumping over those blocks. I hate that part. I should have just used the number 2 thing to fly over it or whatever, but I didn't do that. I did the blocks, and it was really annoying because I always knew which ones I was supposed to jump on. It's just about getting the timing down, and the timing is just like difficult, and it really sucks sometimes. And I want to do it, but it's I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't have the strength to do it. No, just kidding. It's like, you know, and that's not on the game, I get it, but like, God, they made those parts like super fucking annoying. I guess that's the part that's on the game there, is like, how annoying they are. Some of the timing just feels unfair sometimes. And then the checkpoints, they like send you all the way back sometimes on certain levels and stuff. Those two, and then the Quickman stage, or Crashman stage, not Crashman stage, but the part where you have to use the crash bombs in the Wily area is just awful, because it's like, you have to, that boss is hard, not because it's hard, it's because every one of the eyes in that room shoots beams at you all at the same time, or shoots little pellet things or whatever, enemy fire at you at the same time. But you have to have basically a full Crashman weapon, like ammo, to take out like all those little barriers there, and then you have to come back again because you won't have enough ammo, and they don't drop ammo or anything, and this is the only thing that they're weak to is the Crashman ammo. So you have to come back on another life to take him down. I think there's another way to do it too, but that's the one that I know, and it's just, the whole stage is long, and there's these like annoying like platform moving sections that like, it's just so easy to die there, and it's like, oh my god. And you have to go through the whole thing again. And then they put this fucking section, like, right before the boss, where there's, like, 3 of these Hammer Joe guys, and then there's, like, 2 of the Hammer Joe guys that are on the mech things. It's like, come on. Like, I can get there without losing health, but then at that point, I'm definitely going to be losing health. I'm just, at that point, relying on a health drop, or the E-tanks that I can use. And hey, they added E-tanks in this game, but if you continue, you lose them all. And I think that's a staple for the NES games, at least, or whatever, but I'd rather I just keep my E-tanks, because that was kind of, cruel. I was like, oh yeah, E-tanks are in this game, and then I barely used them, because I never had the opportunity to use them, because I would always die before I could use them, so. Yeah, so use your E-tanks, ladies and gentlemen. That'll make the game a lot easier. Okay, I know, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, Emily, you played on the fucking easy difficulty. Oh my god, you're so awful. Should I just talk like that? Should that be my, like, normal speaking voice? But hello, you know, that kind of voice. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so everyone's gonna be like, oh, you played on easy mode, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I played on easy mode. This game's hard enough already, okay? Don't fucking difficulty shame me. Like, get the shit out of here with that. I already had a hard enough time. I spent, you know, a couple hours, like 3-4 hours on this today already. Probably about 4 or 5-ish, 4.5, I don't know. Something like that. And I know, it's like, oh, you're not a real gamer. It's like, yeah, fuck you. You know, I beat, like, 150, 200 NES games. You get out of here with that shit. I'm just, like, not that I'm retired, but this is my glory. Like, the post-glory days, I guess, of beating these games. I just don't have time anymore, you know? I just want to sit down and have fun, and for a Mega Man game, this is the one that's, like, kind of the most, like, sit down and have fun. I remember back in the day, my friend Mayab, who had not beat a Mega Man game at that point, we sat down and played Mega Man 2 and he beat it, and that was pretty cool, so. Yeah, it's not only, like, one of the best NES games, it's just, like, one of my favorite NES games. I know I put it as, like, my second favorite NES game to Legend of Zelda on my list, like, a while ago. For 100 subscribers, you know, the 100 top games list, which is already almost outdated because I would have added, like, Legends Arceus, and I would have added, like, RuneScape, obviously, would have made, like, the top 20 or something. Like, I don't know. Top 20? I don't know if it would crack the top. I have to look at that again. Maybe we'll revisit, when I get 200 subscribers, we'll do top 100 games again, but like the new edition. or something, or we'll do a revised edition or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyway, so that's irrelevant. Mega Man 2 was pretty top tier. It's definitely like within my top 5 NES games. It's definitely like my favorite Mega Man game that's like from the classic series. I think Legends has it beat by just like a little bit. Like I do really love Mega Man Legends a lot. That's a game that, you know, means a lot to me. This isn't a game I grew up with or anything. I did get this game later when I was just first starting out my NES collection stuff. So luckily it's like the cheapest of the Mega Man games because I think it did so well and whatnot. But the rest of the Mega Man games get kind of more expensive. I think 3 isn't that bad, and then like 4, 5, and 6. 5 especially is like one that's a pretty expensive one if I remember correctly. Even the first one's actually kind of expensive-ish. I mean, that was years ago, so I haven't checked like recently, but I think I did check like last year or something. But anyway, point being, that's not important. The gameplay and like the weapons and stuff are great. But, you know, like, the weapons seem a little unbalanced, like I said, to the Metal Blade. Like, that's kind of a thing. Like, it doesn't feel like everything has such a definitive weakness as it did in the first game there. Most of the time in this game, you just use the Metal Blades because they're so overpowered. I, like, looked up a guide to see what the weaknesses were, and then half the time it was just like, yeah, you just use Metal Blades, so I guess it's a little less good, but I mean, like, I don't mind it. I mean, it's like a nitpick, if anything, you know, like, that you just don't get to utilize your weapons as much as you could have. They put a lot of, like, Crash Bomb, like, barriers in certain stages and stuff, so, like, if you do Crash Band early, there's that. I always do Crash Band last, so, I mean, that's kind of a thing. They also did, the weapon, or not the weapons, the support items. So they have, like a helicopter platform that'll, like, go up, and they have, like, the number 2 item that'll, like, shoot across the screen. A lot of these are replaced by Rush in later games. I think Rush comes in Mega Man 4, if I remember correctly. Doesn't show it on the front there. Anyway, yeah, so a lot of these get replaced later. But they're the kind of the standard movement items. The third one is like one that has a little bit of versatility, but it's mostly used for going up to in more narrow spaces or something. I don't know. Anyway, point being that those items are actually given to you in between, like, when you beat a couple of stages, then, like, he'll give you that, Dr. Light will in the middle. So that's interesting, for certain ways. Like, I mean, a couple of those, like the number 2 item, which you get, like, later on, though, could be really useful for something like Heat Man. So if you do Heat Man later on, like, at the end, that would make that stage a lot easier, but, you know, then you don't have his power until later either. So you have to kind of prioritize what you want to do and whatnot. So it's almost, in that sense, a good evolution of the level selecting from the original, but it also does let you customize your experience a lot, and that's very Mega Man-esque. I feel like at this point, even still, you can kind of do them in whatever order you want. I do think, like, the later games, if I remember correctly, you kind of have to do them in a specific order, otherwise it, like, just is way too hard. So I think they kind of lean away from the creatively doing the levels in whatever order you want sort of thing, unless you're just, like, really good, you know? So, so that freedom while it lasts is actually pretty nice and enjoyable. So, I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that as long as they're gonna give that to me, so, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's really just an evolution of the first game and refining everything that was good about the first game to make it better, you know? It's in the purest sense, a true and like well ironed out and fleshed out sequel. And the whole thing was that like Mega Man 1 didn't even do really that well enough for them to like want to make a Mega Man 2. So they made this game passionately in their off time from making other games for Capcom. And then they like released it, you know. So I mean, this is a work of love, you know, from these game developers, and I don't think it's any secret. Nobody like this isn't some underrated game, obviously, or anything. Everyone loves Mega Man 2. That's like everyone's favorite of the classic. It's usually between Mega Man 2 and 3 of classic games that everyone loves, and even some of the later games, like, you know, 9 and 10, were kind of more focused back to this era of Mega Man, the Mega Man 2 era, so... But I do think we make some significant upgrades in the future, like the slide mechanic and, you know, being able to hold on to E-tanks better and that kind of thing. Rush is a good simplification of, like, those power-ups and all of that. And it gets a little gimmicky from here on, but I mean, like, I think 3 kind of is still the most grounded game after this one, if I remember correctly. But I know, like, 5 and 6 especially, like, get kind of gimmicky. Remember 6, you get, like, this, like, jetpack and, like, a whole suit or whatever. I think it's on the cover there. Yeah, it's like you put together parts and stuff. And that's cool. I mean, that's great, but it's just, like, you know, in, like, 7 and 8, you get, like, all these different... It's crazy. It just gets out of hand. But this is still, like, classic, really contained Mega Man, you know? It's, like, it's so focused, and that's what's great about it. Aside from a few of those annoying parts and, like, Like, I didn't have any trouble with Wily. That was really easy, actually. I was dying, and I took him out really easily. Like, you just have to charge up your fire shot, and then you, like, hit him with crash bombs, and he's dead in a couple shots. So, like, the boss, the final boss, spoilers for Mega Man 2, by the way, the alien Wily part, you know, was kind of tricky, but I got the pattern down, and I eventually got it after, like, you know, maybe, like, half hour trying or something. So this is the iconic one. This is great. I love this song. I mean, it's so freaking good. It is up there with, like, the Moon theme, you know, from DuckTales and stuff. It's like top 10 NES tracks for sure. I mean, just so fucking iconic. It's so good. So yeah, I mean, like, obviously the soundtrack and, like, the items and stuff are great, and the level design is, for the most part, great, except for those annoying parts, like I talked about. The Robot Master designs are cool. It's just, and there's 8 of them now, so it's just a great evolution to the original game, and everything's just bigger and better, and they've really refined it, and they got down what makes Mega Man great, you know, and that's what I love so much about Mega Man 2. It's just the classic sort of Mega Man game. When you think of Mega Man classic series, you think of Mega Man 2, because that's the one, you know? They finally had it all together at that point, so... I don't need to say finally, I guess. It's like, you know, there was only one other game, but they got it. They got the formula down right away, and then from here on, they're just trying to recreate that magic. It's a lot like Mega Man Battle Network 3. It was kind of the perfect Mega Man game, Battle Network game, that is, and then after that they were just trying to do gimmicky stuff and, like, you know, recapture the magic of 3, I guess, or whatever, so... That's this game. It's the perfect Mega Man game, you know? I mean, I love it. Despite my criticisms of those parts that annoy the fuck out of me and make me want to throw my controller. You know, I've never actually, like, I mean, maybe, like, back in the day on some games I did throw my controller, but I don't really do that much, you know? Like, people talk about throwing controllers, but, like, I don't... And, you know, if I did throw my controller, I would just, like, it's right here. It's, like, in my... As long as I have the cord, I could just get it back, you know? Like, I know nowadays it's, like, wireless, and that's, like, the whole thing. If you're throwing those controllers, you've got problems, because, like, they're worth, you know, they're valuable, so... this isn't too valuable, I wouldn't think, so... Anyway, yeah, Mega Man 2 is the all-time classic NES Mega Man game, and it really solidified the series as being something really special and more than just this kind of okay platforming shooter game. I mean, not that I would say that about the first one. I obviously liked the first one a lot, but like I think that's what people were thinking back then, that this was just another white noise. You know, you throw it into the mix and it's just another trying to be a mascot for a company, and people liked it, but they didn't really care for it as much as like other games. And then now this one, now it's a real contender. You know, Mega Man's a thing now, and it's like it makes Mega Man like officially a big deal, you know, and you know, we have the legacy of Mega Man to thank from this game, you know. So, and the first game too, of course, but it just wasn't as successful as this game, you know. So I'm really glad that I got to play it again, because from here it just gets really hard again from what I remember. So not that this game was easy, but it's probably the easiest of the Mega Man games. So from here on, I'm a little scared. So we'll see what happens in the future here. But until then, this has been EmiNES saying keep it classic. Stick around for more reviews, underrated games, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Emily, out.